three rational numbers, okay? Your first rational number is -3/8. Your second rational number is 1 and 1/4. And your last rational number is -2 and 1/8. Okay? 2 and 1/8. So I have these rational numbers right here. And the way that we graph them on a number line, sometimes students get a little bit confused as to where rational numbers are graphed because they're not whole numbers. If I asked you to graph 5, raise your hand if you'd be able to graph 5. Yeah, it goes right on 5. But rational numbers, sometimes they're fractions, sometimes they're decimals, and so it's going to look a little bit differently. Today I want to show you how you are going to graph rational numbers. So the first thing you do when you're going to graph a rational number is you're going to look at the number and you're going to say, what is the whole number? What's the whole number? Sometimes it will have a whole number and sometimes it won't have a whole number. If you don't see a whole number, the whole number that is there is 0. So it's 0. -3/8 is going to be located between 0 and another integer, another whole number. And I know some of you think you already know. So before we go on, we're going to find 0 on the number line, right? We have 0. And then it's going to be between two integers. It can't skip integers. It cannot be between 0 and 10 or 0 and -5. It has to be between two integers, like just one right after another. And so it's just like you are counting like regular. If you were to count, you would say 0. What comes after 0? 1. Yeah, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you would start with a whole number where it's 0. Well, in this case, it's a negative. So if you were counting negative numbers, you'd say 0, -1. What comes after -1? -2.
-3.
Yeah, exactly. So with this one, my first integer that I have, I should have everyone looking up here. My first integer that I have is 0. And so when I'm counting, my next integer is going to be negative what?
1.
Beautiful, -1. Go ahead and write that in your math journal. And make sure that you have -1. Is there a difference between positive and -1?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep, there is totally a difference between negative and positive 1. So make sure if it's negative, that it's negative. And if it's positive, then it's positive. Okay? So now I'm going to come up to my number line. And I know it's going to be between 0 and -1. Is it going to go right on the line of 0?
Yes.
No. Is it going to go right on the line of -1? No, it's between 0 and -1. It doesn't have to be exactly in the perfect spot, but it does need to be in between the numbers. Is there a difference between -3/8? Could I graph 8 and say, oh yeah, that's totally -3/8? Is that -3/8?
No.
No! -3/8 is located between 0 and -1. So you need to make sure that you guys have it in the correct place between the two integers. I don't care if it's like directly in the middle or if it's a little bit closer to 1. It's fine for now. I'm not worried about that. Okay? So now let's look at the second one. I have positive 1 and 1/4. Show me on your fingers. What is the whole number? My whole number. I should have everybody showing me on your fingers right now. What is my whole number, everyone? 1. Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
It's positive. So I have a positive 1. And then if I'm counting, what comes after 1? 2. So it's between 1 and 2, right? So now I'm going to come up and graph it, and I'm going to graph it between 1 and 2. Positive 1 and 2. I'm going to put it in between them. Oh, and I apologize. We're going to label this point B, and my first one was point A. So go ahead and label them as well. So I have A and B. And then we're going to graph C as well. Okay? So I have -2 and 1/8, and it's located between two integers. My first integer is negative what?
2.
-2. And if I was counting, I would say -2. Then what comes after -2?
-3.
Perfect. -3 comes right after -2. So -2, -3. So I'm going to find -2 and -3 and graph my last point. And what am I going to label it?
C.
Perfect. So in between 2 and 3, I'm going to label it as point C. Okay. Thumbs up if you understand how to graph rational numbers. You understand how to graph rational numbers. So the way that you do it is you decide what two integers it's between and then graph it there, okay? All right, the second part of your assignment today, there are actually 4 parts to your assignment today. The second part to your assignment today is you're going to tell me, is it on the same or opposite sides of 0? So with your pencil, I want you guys to draw a really big darkened line and clarify where 0 is on your number line. Okay? You're going to tell me, is it on the same or opposite side of 0? So I'm going to compare 2 points, okay? So we're going to do points. We're going to start with points A and B, and then points A and C. And then we're going to write if they're on the same or opposite sides of the number line. So I'm going to pull up my number line, and I already have my points graphed. So we're talking about same or opposite side of 0. So here's 0, and I have point A and B. Do I see them on the same side, either both on the right, or either both on the left or both on the right? Or do I see them on opposite sides of 0, one on the left, one on the right? Same or opposite?
Opposite.
Opposite, yeah. So we're going to write that down. Okay, so points A and B, they are on opposite sides of 0. So now let's look at points A and C. A and C, are they on the same or are they on opposite sides of 0? Same, yeah. Are they both on the right side or the left side?
Left.
Yeah, they're both on the left side. So we're going to say that they are on the same side. Okay. Thumbs up if you can tell the difference between same and opposite sides of 0. Good, because that's something we're going to be working on. Okay. So now I want to know what's the opposite. So I'm going to write a couple of points down. Okay. My first point is A, then B, then C. So my first point, it's negative 3/8. My first point is negative 3/8, where I'm getting my numbers from. My second point is what?
Negative 1.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't see a negative. I'm sorry. Point B is what?
1/4.
Okay, so it's positive 1 1/4. And then finally, point C is what?
2 1/8.
Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative 2 1/8. Okay. So we're going to write down what the opposite is of each of these. But before we do that, I want to test your ability to tell me the opposites. Are you ready? I'm going to say a number, and you're going to give me the opposite. Are you ready? What is the opposite of positive 3? Negative 3. What is the opposite of negative 8? I'm sorry, what?
8.
Positive 8. How about what is the opposite of 4?
Negative 4.
Fabulous. So I'm going to show you what the opposite looks like. So the opposite of negative 3/8, we're going to keep the rational number the same, and we just switch the sign. So negative 3/8 becomes positive 3/8. Go ahead and write that down. And work with B on the next one. Point B, the opposite of point B, which is 1 1/4, is what? Negative 1 1/4. All right. And then finally, the opposite of negative 2 1/8 is what? Positives 1 1/8. 2. No, it's 1 1/8. 2 1/8.
You said 1.
Oh, I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Positive 2 1/8. Okay. Opposite. Thumbs up if you are going to be able to identify the opposite of a rational number. If I give you a rational number, you'll be able to tell me what the opposite is. Good. And then there's one more thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to ask that you guys tell me that you're able to compare 2 rational numbers. So we're actually going to compare point B, which is 1 1/4, in comparison to point C, which is negative 2 1/8. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to find point B and point C. And point B comes first in this situation, so I'm going to compare them. Point B and point C. Which one is bigger? Tell your neighbor which one is bigger and how you know that it's bigger. Okay, I need all eyes up here in 3, 2, and 1. Which one is bigger, point B or point C? B. Can someone tell the whole class why is B bigger? Why is B bigger, Alex?
B is bigger because it's to the right.
Thank you. B is bigger because it's to the right on the number line. So I'm going to say that point B is bigger. It's greater than. Okay? Today, for your assignment, you have to be able to do the following things. You have to be able to graph rational numbers. You need to be able to tell me, are they on the same or opposite side of 0? You are going to be able to tell me, are they, what is the opposite of a rational number? And then you are going to compare and order rational numbers. When your math journal matches my math journal, I need it on the corner of your desk open, and then I need whiteboards out. Addison, you can go ahead and turn that off. Thanks, honey. Yes.